Hi everyone. So we had a look in the previous videos about what are some of the tooling to run games on Steam. I'm sorry, on Linux. I said Steam because I'm usually using SteamOS, but we'll see that we can use the rest of the software provided by Linux community to run any other kind of software platform like GOG, Blizzard, and so forth. So the most used tools and important one would be the engine that actually runs the compatibility mode, and those would be Proton. Something that it's generally developed by Valve, and now it's also in collaboration with Arch Linux community, which they'll make the engine work a lot better in the compatibility mode. Basically, moving forward, I think within the next year or so, there will be no more problems whatsoever for the gaming platform. You'll have not only matching performance of DirectX 12 or whatever Microsoft can come up with, but I think they'll outperform by far. So if you go to Steam settings, right, you click on the settings and then you go to compatibility mode, you will have to enable this, as I said many times, in order to play anything that it's on Windows or for macOS, so they have some compatibility mode so you can run it in Linux. Now in here, what it says run with, you will have something that it says it might be a native package depending on if you are on Ubuntu or maybe Fedora or Debian or Garuda or Draugar OS or many other gaming performant operating systems based on Linux that are widely used. Or you'll see something like Proton Experimental, which usually is the bleeding edge, the latest possible up-to-date version of Proton Engine that comes directly from the Valve. Now, this might break some things, it might not work properly, but in general, it should be okay. However, we also have this GE Proton. So what is the difference? Now, the GE, between the GE and the Proton Experimental is this. This community here, it's based on not how Valve does things. They release an update on engine quarterly or monthly or something like that. Basically, if a game now it's released and some people in the community find a fix for that game to run with a Proton, they'll publish it, and then these guys take it and put it there immediately and update it. So basically, it's a good chance that within 1 or 2 days of any game release, the GE Proton already supports that game. So I'm using it as well. Now in the version GE Proton 920. So as I said, you go to Steam, use settings, go to compatibility, enable this, and select the latest Proton GE Proton engine. You can switch between Proton Experimental and 920 and see which one goes better for you, if the game runs or not. Now, of course, it begs the question, fine, but how the heck do we install those versions? Now I get to the other piece of software, which is Proton Plus. Now, Proton Plus does a very good job of assigning and installing compatible engines that are good for certain platforms. For example, I have Steam, Lutris, which I've spoken before, Bottles, and Heroic Game Launcher. Now, if I'm to go into settings and I'm going to say about Protons, you can get some details. See who is building, where is it for, and so forth. So it's a good thing if you want to just get an idea to what it does and what it doesn't. Now, in case of Steam, let's start with this. As you can see, there are a lot of engines like Superda, Boxtron, Roberta, whatever. So there's a lot of engines. You can experiment with them depending on the platform. But in generally, what's going to happen, most of the times you're going to go for Proton GE. Now, as you can see here, I have this GE Proton 20. It says to delete. Why? Because I already installed it. For example, Proton 919, I can download this one as well. Why they keep all these versions here? Well, here's the thing. If one of the version doesn't work well with you, you can test another one. Maybe it works better. For example, between 920 and 919, something may have been introduced here, let's say, that breaks one game in particular or something else. That is the true power and the flexibility of Linux. So you download this engine, right? Now, once you downloaded this engine, as I've showed you, you go into compatibility and then you'll have it here and then select it. Now, here's the neat thing. There's another tool, which is called Proton GE. You install this one as well. And it's going to show here where it is used and unused. For example, I don't use 619, which I can see it's already downloaded here. What I can do, I can go and delete it, and then this will show as deleted here. You'll not see it any longer. But I can see that Proton 920, it's already global and it's used. Why? Because it is used here. So it's a good tool to see if anything is installed or not properly. For example, Lutris has Lutris GE, Proton, Wine, a lot of stuff that I placed in there. Heroic has all sorts of things, but it says that's also unused. So I hope this makes a bit more sense, right? Now for Lutris, I have downloaded in the meantime the Wine GE with GE Proton 820. You can also play with Wine Lutris if you want to test, but let's say I go with that one. Let's say for bottles, I can do the exact same thing. I go here, I download GG Proton 19. Hero Game Launcher. I can do the exact same thing, which I did. I already downloaded. Okay, so far so good. Now let's open, for example, Lutris, right? So I'm going to open Lutris. Now we know that we have these engines downloaded for Lutris, right? Which is G Proton 20. Okay, no problem. What we need to do here, we need to go a bit into the preferences. Now you're going to see you have different things like, minimize client when game is running, hide text under icons, whatever. Show in the icon tray, which is pretty much there. For example, you see, if I operate this, is going to say, hey, you're running Lutris. So it's not a bad idea to see what's running or not. But anyway, you have here the sources, for example. Now, sources, what does it mean? I have GOG, Epic, EA, Ubisoft, Steam. But as you can see here, you find for different other stuff like Amazon Prime, Origin, if you have each the game in many files. So you can install it from here. So far, so good, yeah. Now I have parts in regards to storage and global options. As you can see here, you have certain kind of settings. If you want FPS counter with Mango HUD, but I don't have it installed. So that's another thing. Again, you can go here. So you have enable HDR and so forth, as long as you have a few other things installed. But maybe that's that's for another time. So as I said, you have all these options here. And then here in the Wine update channel where it says the updates, you need to select Wine GE updates to download automatically and see which version do you want to use and so forth. Now it says that the used version that we have is Wine GE 826, which is exactly that one we already have downloaded. So that's really good because it does a very good job for verifying what is the latest version. You can also do a self-maintain, which is not a good idea generally. And then you can say, okay, check again, see what other versions. In case if you would have had different versions, you would be able to choose multiple. But it's already did here the best option for you. So it's good to know where you find all these things and what they are good for. Now, in case of this one, for example, the connect, you have here many other options, which you can even go and configure stuff like that. What do you want to use? What is the runner? So you can have Linux run native, Flatpak, Steam runs, Wine runs, or different kind of options. So you can go run and figure these kind of things. So I hope this kind of makes sense and gives you a better idea on how to use Lutris. So we've seen Lutris, no problem. Let's go into heroic games. I'm just gonna make this smaller. Why do I see a lot of games? I'm already logged in within one of the stores with this GOG. So for heroic, I see that also have the GE Proton 20, right? And the libraries, whatever filter categories, there's a lot of stuff in here. But also have the setting parts of this software. So here they have also library which we would want to present if you need some specific parts to do. This is if you want to select a specific path for where the one Proton path it is, but this one should do a very good job for actually already pre-installing and selecting those kind of stuff for you. You have also game defaults. What do you want to use as a general thing? It's like wine default, wine 90, or you have here the Proton stuff that you may want to use. So sometimes it works better with one, sometimes it works better with Proton. It depends on what kind of client you run. So you can experiment with which with the one that you want to experiment. So I've said that normally I want to use the Proton GE, Proton 920, right? For this one, I think it's one and the same. So if you look in here, it's G Proton 920, it's Proton G, whatever. So it's pretty much the same. You see Proton G, it should be literally one and the same. So now you have selected this one, so it's pretty okay. So it says changes in this section only applying default values when installing games, which is good. Then in this case, you need to go and reinstall the game so you can take this Proton stuff setting. You have many other options, like if you go into the install parts, but then again, that's another kind of topic on its own. So now you know where to put the G Proton. Now I'm telling you, I'm not the most expert guy in this stuff, but I hope somehow this kind of gives you a better idea on how this correlates and why do you install the Proton GE and how you can set it up within the rest of the things. As you can see, you also have the wine manager here. It says wine G Proton, wine G latest, so you can use that as well. For example, it says this one, the latest ever, but you also have some option like this one, which is Proton 826. So let's say I just want to install this one as well. It's going to go ahead, installation started. It's going to take a bit of time. It's going to say, hey, I know this is going to take things. I need to unzip, download, whatever the heck is going on there until it's probably set up within your system. Now it's done. So you can go ahead in the same direction as I've shown in settings, and then you can switch back to WineG Proton. Now in the manage account, you have also the Epic alternative method, GeoGems, which is the one that I already have, and also Amazon library as well. As you can see here, this comes from the GeoG one. That would be kind of it with this as well. So now you know how to run Proton G. Now that I've actually changed to Proton G on Steam, let's try running Steam a bit. I'm going to close this one because I don't need it, and I'm going to run my favorite of all times, Path of Exile. And let's see how this actually works with the Proton G. Pretty fast. Anyway, this game is super mega optimized. It's one of the best. And by the way, Path of Exile 2 will be released sometime this month, I think on the 21st of November. They'll have a shout out and they'll start to give early access beta keys or early access keys. I think the key is about $30 or more, but I think it's probably worth it. So into the options, I can see it also runs Vulkan, which this is the best way to run on Linux. I have no problems. Everything it's, you know, ultra high definitions wherever the heck is going on. Just gonna enter a bit into a game. It should work properly. You can also see the frames per second, cover things happening in there. I think I have the wrong bow, that's why I'm not doing a lot of damage, but it's working. Yep, so that's how we run the game with GE Proton. I hope this kind of gave you, somewhat of a good understanding of what's actually happening in here, and then you can go ahead and set up your game with the GE Proton, experiment a bit, see what works for you. I said sometimes GE Proton, the latest version or something older, or Proton Experimental, so one of those will most definitely work. Just go ahead and test and see what's what. Please have a look also on the other videos I've made previously for more tooling, see about the Linux distributions that you may want to use for gaming and the one that I'm also using. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you.